I made 3 videos about Elfen Lied that I always liked the story and atmosphere in general, but decently, despite the anime being inconclusive with its finale that it didn't catch up with the conclusion in the manga, the characters are what's interesting in the manga. Lucy being the anti-hero and protagonist in the story. After 3 years, she escaped the Institute, until she got hit by a sniper rifle causing a split personality, landing her in the ocean, causing her to wash up in Kamakura. On the other hand, director Kakazawa, the series' main antagonist, is what fixates me the most, because of the origins, motivations, and influence with his family over time. How the series connects to World War II as a whole for the antagonist's history, as well as Lucy and the Declone too. Before the events of Elfen Lied, we must go back to the Kakazawa family where it all started. According to director Kakazawa, his family was a descendant from a separate species of hominid that once thrived in feudal Japan. This species was marked off on horn-like protrusions on top of their foreheads, and supposedly psychonetic abilities that inspire the legends of demons and gods. It is unknown whether they believed all such legends derived from these ancestors, or just some localized ones. Stories passed down to him stated that there were powerful people who were strong enough to cut through mountains. After their bloodline had become diluted through intermarriage with regular humans, they were driven off to their land and hunted down by non-horned humans, a situation that Kakazawa linked to the fate of the Neanderthals. To survive, they migrated an underground cave at the bottom of a small island, situated off the coast of the actual city of Kamakura, in Kanagawa Prefecture. This cave, under several kilometers of earth, was highly radioactive, which severely shortened their lifespans and caused further and more radical mutations in their offspring. The site became a holy land, where they prayed for the arrival of Messiah, pure blood demon who would restore the mighty powers of the Kakazawas. Through the modern times, director Kakazawa had the advantage to have some aid by the Japanese government that he founded, which Kakazawa family had developed, which is known as the Lensborn Project, a eugenics project to develop and displace humanity at a much faster rate with the newly improved human race. They believe elected by God, the Declonius. What do the horns represent of the Kakazawa family? Good question. A prime example would be Jews. Why did I say this? You'll see why I picked this example. In the Bible, the book of Exodus 34:29, a historical mistranslation mentions Moses' face was radiant and shining, which meant that's horned face. That stem, as Hebrew text uses Quran, meant emitting rays of light. However, in the 4th century, Saint Jerome translated the Hebrew Bible into Latin. He interpreted this word as hornta, meaning horn. Therefore, the Latin Bible stated that Moses' face was horned rather than radiant, leading to the Nazis making it a myth about those who are with Jewish descent have misguided, misinformed souls to have horns. Famous example would be Michelangelo's Moses statue, with his head being carved as horns. How it proves that a simple mistranslation can change Jews as a whole. Editor's note: Saint Jerome's translation error inspired Michelangelo's statue. It wasn't for the basis for Nazi propaganda. The Nazis only relied on modern racial pseudoscience, not biblical errors. Lensborn is very straightforward and simple to explain. Himmler established a program that would boost declining birth rates and prevent women to have abortions. This would process SSS screen for both parents for racial purity. After birth, the SS often assumed guardianship and placed the babies with the approved Aryan families, particularly SSS members, that many of homes were private maternity facilities where unmarried mothers could give birth discreetly and comfortably away from societal judgment. Lucy is something you're familiar with. To recap, she's a declone who escaped the Institute. Which you didn't know, Professor Kakazawa helped her escape for his own deeds to be like his father to succeed against him to make his own race, desiring to want Lucy. Which she is now at Kamakura living in Maple House. That Lucy was different to other people and her race because she was birthed by her mother and was given the queen title given by Kakazawa's gold to make her join his cause in order to fulfill his fantasy. Despite all the risk he had done to make the Declonius race rise, Lucy had severe childhood trauma due to bullying at the orphanage and how people viewed her as a monster, which led her to socially alienated from what people view as Decloniuses as weapons. Knowing they are a threat, disregarding what's more than the eye, facing the prejudice that they never got the chance to show their humanity. Get the elephant in the room. The prejudice of the Decloni is eerily similar to how Unit 731 treats its subjects for experiments and dehumanizing them just as animals, stripping their humanity to endure the abuse. With subjects as their names, basically how they treat them like garbage, as weapons that they could be used. Also, about Lucy, she's no different because she suffers from split personality disorder, which you didn't know is similar to dissociative identity disorder, or DID, which is quite rare to have in World War II. Also, how she survived the isolation in the Decloni Research Institute, which she had the trauma and desire for revenge, which it mirrors how people had trauma. Also, the discrimination that the Decloni faces because of them being dangerous that are perceived others due to a growing fear of them not wanting to get infected. Similar how the Japanese internment camps did to those people who are Japanese American, that the US government perceived them as spies of Imperial Japan due to how it mirrors the similarities. Elfen Lied is much more what I didn't expect. Theology, discrimination, prejudice, trauma, and identity is something that piqued my interest. Interesting how the anime did not conclude like the manga just did already. This is my final Elfen Lied video, and who knows when I'll continue with it. This is Baikano, see you later.